Hi, it's Lydia, and today I want to talk to you about how you can help somebody who has just been through a house fire or maybe a tornado, hurricane, something where they have lost their house, possessions, the combination of those. My goal is to either to one, benefit you who's trying to help somebody else, or two, if you've been through this situation and people are asking you, what can we do, and you're thinking, I just don't know, then maybe these are some things you can share with them, or you can share with them this video. I'm just going to give you kind of our story of what happened with us and what was beneficial for us shortly after we had our house fire. And then I'm going to list out a few things that were super helpful to us afterwards as well. After our house fire, we had a rental that was just four walls. Basically, what would come with the shell of a house. We didn't have appliances, we didn't have beds, we didn't have anything like that. So we spent the first night in a hotel, and then we went to the rental the second night. And so obviously the first thing I thought of was beds. We needed beds to put ourselves in, and we had two young girls at the time. So the first need that we had were beds, and thankfully God provided those for us. And then after that I started thinking, our family's going to have to eat, and we don't want to go out to eat for every meal. And so a means of cooking was the next thing, a means of a refrigerator. It's amazing, you start thinking how much we have in America and how blessed we truly are. I could cook over a campfire every meal like some people do in other countries, but I'm not really prepared to do that. So a way to keep my food cold, and a way to cook food, and then obviously food as well. I remember crying over the first meal we had it was breakfast, it was peanut butter and jelly, not toast. It was just peanut butter and jelly, but God had provided for us food. And it didn't really matter what it was fairly healthy, it was food. And at that point we didn't have anything, and food was very much appreciated. And then you start thinking you need clothes, and you realize how few of clothes you truly need. And so you start going down those lines. But really, beds, food, and a way to cook that food, and a place to stay. Those were the biggest things that we needed. And as far as a place to stay, insurance may talk to your insurance company. They will help you with that, and will pay for something along those lines. Some things that we had done for us that were super helpful. There's a lot more. Obviously, people are going to throw money at you, which is awesome, because we had some people say, they have insurance, so they're going to be okay. The truth of the matter is, insurance doesn't kick in right away. At least not for us. They didn't write us this check for $100 or $1. There had to be a process in place before we even saw any of that money. And we're still, 3 years later, working through that process to get some of the money. So insurance does not write you a check day of fire and say, here, you can rebuild your life today. It's not that easy. So money was helpful because there were things that we needed, and things that we needed right away. Yes, insurance was beneficial, but it's not there. Red Cross is helpful. They did give us a gift card that paid for our first night at the hotel. So that was a helpful thing that we were able to get as well. Simple things, if you want something small, note cards and pens. People are giving you things, and I was always taught to write thank you notes, and so there were things that I was thankful for, but I didn't have any way of being thankful for those. So note cards and pens, simple things. A friend sent me a journal, so I still have it today, a list of what everybody gave us after the fire, because you start getting people who just hand you stuff, and there's 500 different things on your mind at the time, and I couldn't remember them. I actually probably should go back and look through that list and see what God blessed us with during that time, because it was so helpful and so encouraging just to see family, friends, co-workers rally around us and just encourage us. Gift cards also were super helpful because then we could go to the store and get exactly what we needed. And I know it seems impersonable, but sometimes that was the most beneficial because we weren't given a bunch of stuff that we're like, okay, now what do we do with this? Food, groceries. We did have some people bring us food, and at that time you're not going to be super picky. Obviously allergies would be another story, but groceries were amazing because once again you need to eat and you have nothing. Some different things that some people did. One person two people my husband worked with, they said, we want a list and we're going to go to the grocery store and we're going to buy what is on your list. And of course they came back, the list isn't long enough, but they went and they bought us exactly what was on our list, and that way we could start cooking meals that we wanted and didn't have to take the time to go grocery shopping. They did that for us. That was helpful. Some people gave us like dishes because you don't have dishes to eat on, so paper products. If you have an old set of dishes laying around, simple things like that. I had an aunt and uncle that went out and bought us spices because those can add up pretty quickly and you don't have them. I had another cousin who went and she fried up like 3 pounds of hamburger and then brought us the meals for like tacos and spaghetti. I don't remember. There were a few different, but she had prepared basically the meal and we just had to put them together. So it gave us a sense of feeling like we were cooking and doing things, but she was really holding her hand along the way, and that was very helpful as well. And very easy just to throw in the freezer then and pull out when we needed them. Clothes are another thing that people are going to need, and this is a touchy one for me. You need clothes, and people are willing to throw clothes at you. I didn't have a dryer. That was one appliance that we didn't get, and so we hung all of our clothes outside. Well, somewhere in the process, we got bed bugs. So there we were trying to get our feet back together and trying to get things settled, and also calling the exterminator because we dealt with bed bugs, and trying then to buy a dryer so that we can kill these things. And it was a headache in and of itself that I would be leery of encouraging somebody to go that way as far as accepting clothes. So be willing to tell people, no, I don't need this, or maybe have a point person who's willing to say, well, I'll collect this stuff and I'll only pass on what they truly need, or I don't know. And also work clothes were something that we needed, and we didn't want to go to the store and buy like brand new jeans for my husband to go back into. We still had the structure of our home that we needed to go into. We didn't want to wear brand new clothes into there. So there is a need for used clothes, but just, I guess, be cautious. Don't shove a bunch of unnecessary stuff off on somebody and then they'd be like, oh, now we've got another job on our hands. So just keep that in the back of your head. That is a real issue and not something that people want to deal with. Another thing I thought of, our kids were fairly young at the time, and I was a little anxious in this area because I was in the house when our house was caught on fire, and I was very thankful for my girls at that point because they were both there with me as well. I realized I very well could have lost either of them that day, and I didn't want to let them far from my side at that point. And so childcare is something that potentially would be helpful, but you'll have to talk to the parent and see. And maybe in-house, because they might have to be on the phone a lot, but they need somebody to come and play with their children. So that, depending on the family, that might be helpful. But do keep in mind that they might be sensitive in that area. I actually had somebody come and ask if they could take my oldest to go do something that should have been a 5-minute job, and 2 hours later they brought my child back, and I just remember sitting in the house crying because I could have lost my child the day before, and I felt like I was losing my child that day, and I could not handle the stress of it at that point. So childcare is something that, if they are willing, would be helpful, but do keep that in mind, that there could be some feelings involved with that as well. So those are the things that I came up with. There's, I'm sure, a lot more, but those are the ones that pop into my mind as the most helpful. And just showing those people love, letting them know that you're there for them. Actually, there are a few others I thought of. We had some friends who came and helped us go through the contents of our house and take pictures of everything inside of our house for insurance purposes. And that was so helpful to have those people drag sooty, disgusting stuff out of our house and take pictures and throw it in the dumpster. Those people I will forever be grateful for, and will never forget those people that stood beside us that day and did that. And then you realize how much you truly own. Another thing, we had a friend who came the day of the fire, and we had just gotten chickens, and they took our chickens for us because we didn't want to drive back and forth to take care of them. So they took care of that for us, and they just kept our chickens and brought us eggs for the next few years. So that was small but huge, because we didn't know what we were going to do with them, and you can't quite take those to the hotel with you. They might appreciate that. So those things. A car seat right after the fire too. Our van was in the garage, so we didn't have car seats. So honestly, we couldn't even leave the site without car seats because we didn't have them. So people let us borrow, and then insurance did replace them eventually, but people let us borrow for a few days. And one other thing, a neighbor had brought down, we were working on potty training my oldest at the time, so she had underwear on, and I knew it was just a matter of time till we had issues. So one of our neighbors, I asked him, like, can we just have a diaper? I know her daughter's a little older than ours, so she brought down a few pull-ups and a few extra clothes. And so diapers were huge too. So it's going to depend on the stage of life that the people are in, but those are just some things that were helpful for us. So I hope that's helpful to you if you're looking to help someone else, or if you're looking to give a list to somebody else. And I would encourage you to look at the other videos in my series so that can hopefully help you through the process as well. And let me know if you have any questions or any suggestions. If you've been through a house fire or have helped somebody, what did you find was helpful? If you can leave those down in the comments as well, that can help somebody else who's watching this video. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.